Well, I'm Steve Whitmire. I own Ridgefield Farm and Brasstown Beef. The farm has been here since 1954 when my father, E.J. Whitmire, uh, started acquiring land in Cherokee County. Started off with about a 225 acre purchase. Kept acquiring land. We now have collectively about 1,020 acres here in Cherokee County, North Carolina. We're the last zip code headed west. It's beautiful. We don't have a lot of industrial pollution of any kind. We have clean water, clean air. So it's been in the blood. There's been a Whitmire farming somewhere in the Appalachian Mountains since the late 1700s. So I guess there's a certain amount of genetic programming to that effect. So Dad continued to build this farm. He went through, he was a shorthorn breeder for about 10 years. I think maybe had the largest herd in the state. It's difficult to make it as a seed stock producer and do everything else, and so he became a cow-calf guy. When Dad passed, it became important to me that this land stay in the family that he had accumulated. I needed to figure out a way to keep this farm in the family forever. We are in an isolated place here in the mountains, all kidding aside. We're not in the heart of farmland. We have to be pretty self-sufficient about everything. My thought process is several fold. At the front end, if you can't beat them on price because your costs are more, in this case because we're not in the Midwest near cheap feed resources, we would have to charge more for our product. And that meant it had to be a very consistent, high quality product. In this case, high quality being defined in terms of quality grade, meaning choice or better. It needed to be consistently tender. So we set about all the genetic inputs and research to be able to come up with that kind of a product. I had gotten us into the purebred business, moved us from the cow-calf operation into a registered Angus herd and started building a registered Braunvieh herd, Braunvieh being a Swiss breed, one of the oldest in the world. We run somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 100 Angus cows and about 50 to 60 Braunvieh cows. I chose Braunvieh for purely performance of the breed, and when I said performance, I will define that. They're a wonderful cow. They're great mama cows. They're very environmentally adaptable. They do just fine in hot climates, and yet in the wintertime, because they're a Swiss breed, they get thick hair. They're very altitude adaptable, extremely sound undercarriage, great feet and legs, great milkers. Our Braunvieh will run about 1.1, 1.2 inches of ribeye area per hundredweight. The average Angus will run about 1 inch per hundredweight. And when you're looking at yield grades, how much red meat you get out of a carcass, that's a very important issue. They will do that with about half the back fat of an Angus and less of the kernel of fat or the acorn fat, depending on what you want to call it. It's between the eye of the ribeye and the spinalis muscle, which is the top of the ribeye. So we feel like the combination of Braunvieh and Angus gave us the optimum quality of meat for a really good doing cow herd, extremely environmentally adaptable, generally very docile, wonderful mamas, take care of the babies. If you're a cow-calf guy, we all know that, hey, the mama cow that'll take care of that baby is everything. If you don't have a live calf to sell at the end of the day, nothing else matters. So we think the combination of the two, from our standpoint, are the ideal combination. We sell bulls every spring. Usually it's the second Saturday in April. And we offer a calf buyback to people. The caveat I'm going to put on that is twofold. First of all, they have to be willing to undergo a GAP, Global Animal Partnership, animal welfare audit We have to be able to prove they've never been given any antibiotics, either in the feed or the mineral or via injection. And then I'm going to look at the cow herds to see if they're the right kind of cattle. And when I say right kind of cattle, remember, everything is focused on the beef product. Now, if a person qualifies, it costs about, well, it does. It's now $1,600 per audit. We pay the audit fee, so we're looking to buy at least 75 calves a year or more because of just the cost factor. But what people will tell you, and we've got about, I think right now we've got maybe 14 different people that we buy calves from, that it's probably worth $75 a year, maybe even a little more, for them to do business with us. Because they've got the right kind of cattle and we've got a market for it. We'll run anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 feeder calves here a year or at a time, depending on what our grazing conditions are and how many head we're harvesting per week. So the combination that we use is we have large grazing pastures where the cattle always are. And we grow about 200 to 225 acres in our case, of non-GMO corn for corn silage. The non-GMO is a big consumer issue, and you need to make what your consumers want. And we have a very carefully programmed, designed ration that they get 365 days a year, in addition to always being on grass. So there's never a beginning, an end, and a finish. They always get access, free choice to our ration. I guess what I would say is that what's important to me is that we get cattle in that are, fairly quick gaining, that are feed efficient. So we have a grow safe feed intake system that's part of our bull test, in which we're looking at how many pounds of feed for a pound of gain. If you retain heifers from a low RFI or feed efficient bull, and breed those heifers to another feed efficient bull, you can increase your stocking rate on your pastures by 20% on dry cows, 12% on lactating cows. Anytime you could sell 10 to 15% more calves from the same acreage, same taxes, same fences, same fertilizer, but you've got another 10 to 15% more calves to sell, that's money in your pocket. Whole Foods became a customer. They've been a customer for four and a half years now. We're distributed by Buckhead Beef, Cisco, U.S. Foods. We're in Ingles Markets, grocery stores, Bilo stores, and some Food Line stores. I would say that to most people, I think most people would say this, is you have to figure out what you're good at and where you can be consistently profitable and focus on that. I would add, however, that since we are vertically integrated all the way from the genetics for the seed stock, with our bull sale catalog saying the right bull produces the finest beef, we are all in the beef business. That means if we're going to stay in the beef business, we better produce a product that's flavorful, consistently tender, and fits our consumers' desire.